The vote for House Speaker is going to take place on January 3rd, one of the first orders of business in Washington in the new year. There are 5 GOP opponents to Kevin McCarthy taking the gavel, but I'm wondering, for the legislative agenda, does it matter who is in that role, or do you think it will be gridlock regardless? And what does that mean for the markets and the economy?
Well, historically, we've certainly seen good economic performance under divided government. And I think a lot of people want that. And the reason for that is the government's not able to do much. And we can kind of understand what's going to happen over the next few years, which will be nothing. And I suppose there are a variety of Republican leaders who could deliver, let's do nothing.
Doing nothing, though, won't be an answer when it comes to the debt ceiling, which the U.S. will run up against at some point in the middle of this year. Goldman Sachs wrote in a note yesterday that it thinks that the corollary to the moment that we're in right now, Casey, is 2011, where credit agencies downgraded the strength of the U.S. credit rating. The full faith and credit of the United States was called into question. We went to the brink. A lot of spending cuts were demanded by Republicans in order to raise the debt ceiling. And I'm wondering if you see that playing out this time and how damaging you think it could be for the markets.
Well, I like that analogy. That's when our recovery finally began. We had a recession that started in 2007-8, and normally recessions last about a year, and that one went on for 3 years. And finally, we got divided government, and we got beginnings of a recovery. So again, that divided government can be frustrated from a political point of view, guys who want to do deals. But I think America benefits when the people in Washington don't do so many deals.
But that's the big question for the economy, or at least, for the big deadline coming up, Donna. I'm wondering if you see some sort of grand bargain that's possible between the parties and the positions that they've currently staked out.
Well, here's the difference between now and 2011, and it is the composition of the Republican conference. It is much more confrontational. There are greater divides. In 2011, you actually had a speaker in place who, in order to cut that deal, worked with Democrats to make that happen. I don't really see that in this Congress. I do think that the debt ceiling debate is going to be one of the greatest strains on the economy. Even the threat of not raising the debt ceiling, I think, is really could be very damaging. And if you look at this Congress coming up, you have a lot more vocal opposition within the Republican conference to raising the debt ceiling, and I think that's going to be very, very dangerous. It's not going to be good for the economy, but politically, I think it's just very difficult in this environment to forge the kind of deal that you forged back in 2011.